I'm going to be talking about all the books that I really want to read but just haven't gotten around to yet. And I will not be discussing my entire TBR because according to my Goodreads, my want to read list is 327 books. So I'm just going to talk about the ones very briefly today that I am most excited to read that are kind of like on the top of my priority list. Oh, I forgot some books upstairs. Hold on. There we go. So a lot of these books I do have in my possession. I own them. I have a physical copy of them. I just haven't gotten around to reading them. So we're going to start with those. This is a library book. Obviously, I don't own her, so I have to read her pretty quick because I have to return it because there is a long waiting list for this one. And that is If He Had Been With Me by, of course, they cover up the author's name with a big sticker, Laura Nowlin. I don't know anything about the plot of this book other than it's really sad. So I do like a heart-wrenching book every now and then. So gonna give this one a read very soon. Next book I have from the library is The Quarry Girls by Jess or Les? Jess, sorry, by Jess Lowry. It takes place in Minnesota in 1977. I love books about missing people, especially when they get solved in the end. I am from Minnesota, specifically St. Cloud, which is known as the Granite City. We have a lot of like empty quarries. So interesting kind of historical fiction there. And I've seen that it has really good reviews. So I'm excited about this one. I waited for so long for this book. I was in line on hold for like 6 months and I finally have Fourth Wing. I've heard a lot of mixed reviews about this one. Gonna give it my all when I read it. Try to go in blind. I really have no idea what this series is about. So I am excited to read it though, just because it has been so hyped up. And I'm getting into fantasy more these days, so very excited to give that one a read. And then we have Stone Maidens by Lloyd Devereaux Richards. Now this book went viral on TikTok a couple of years ago, I think now. This girl filmed her dad writing a book. Apparently he wrote this book. It was like his life's work. It's a serial killer mystery thriller book. And she's like, you know, my dad wrote this book. He put all of his heart and soul into it and like no one has bought it. Well, TikTok came and showed up and this became like a #1 best-selling book from Amazon. So I bought it, of course, to support this sweet man's dream of being an author. Haven't read it yet. It is toward the top of my list of books I'm going to read very soon. Then we have basically the rest of the Crescent City books. So I read the first one, I have her right here, on a road trip to Montana about 1.5 years ago now. Here's the thing. I read it 1.5 years ago. I don't remember a whole lot about it. And I have the second one in my possession. When I read this one, the second one hadn't even come out yet. Well, now the third one just came out. And so I'm kind of dragging my feet because do I reread this one? It's so long. I don't know. But look at this one. Like, oh my God, who has time for that? I am eventually going to get around to finishing this series, or at least getting caught up with this series. I don't know if I need to reread the first one. I really don't want to. I have heard nothing but great things about this book in particular, The Nightingale by Kristen Hanna. I have 2 other books by her. I have the one that just came out, The Women, and then I have, oh God, I don't remember what it's called, but it's orange, and it's on my bookshelf upstairs. But as far as Kristen Hanna books go, this is on the top of my list as to the one I want to read sooner. Again, I am getting into fantasy more. So this was a book of the month pick for me this March, A Fate Inked in Blood by Danielle L. Jensen. First of all, the cover's pretty and it has really good reviews so far. So I'm excited to keep reading more fantasy, kind of try to expand past the Sarah J. Maas universe. I'm currently reading the Throne of Glass series as I say that though. So this is another book of the month book that, let's see, it was for the month of September of last year. So I've had it on my shelf for a while and just haven't gotten around to reading it. But again, just another book that has really good reviews. I thought the cover was pretty. Sometimes I just pick pretty books because I know they'll look pretty on my bookshelf. Sue me. I can't believe I haven't gotten around to reading this yet, but Circe, I think is how you say it, Circe by Madeline Miller. I loved The Song of Achilles, and I've heard this one is just as good, just as touching, just as good of a book. And I cannot believe I haven't read it yet. That's why she is on my list of books, toward the top of my TBR priority list. Another book that I can't believe I haven't gotten around to reading yet, and that is Mindhunter. This was gifted to me by my sister for Christmas like 2 years ago, and I still haven't read it. But I did watch the Netflix show. I am so mad they canceled it. If you haven't seen that show, watch it. It's incredible. But this book is basically, it's nonfiction, and it's about I think the start of, like, if you ever seen Criminal Minds, they had the Behavioral Analysis Unit, the BAU or whatever. This is what that is, how this started. It was like the first behavioral analysis special agent for the FBI and how that kind of unit came to be. And the show Mindhunter is based off this book. So I need to read this because it's going to be so fascinating and I can't wait. Then She Was Gone by Lisa Jewell. Again, it just has really good reviews, and I have the physical copy in my possession, and I just haven't gotten around to reading it yet. I've read a few books by Lisa Jewell, and so I'm excited to dive into this one. Then we have Book of the Month's Book of the Year for 2023. Again, almost a year old now, and I haven't read it yet, and it's been sitting on my shelf. But Abby Jimenez, she wrote another book that I didn't love, and I can't remember what it was called now. I think it was The Friend Zone. I read The Friend Zone by this author and hated it. So I'm hoping this one is better. The last physical book that I own that is on the top of my TBR right now is The Midnight Library by Matt Haig. Again, I know nothing about the plot of this other than people seem to really enjoy it, and I need to get around to reading it. That's that. As far as books that I don't own, these, again, my TBR is 327 books long. I went through that entire list and I picked the ones where it's like, these are the ones I want to read soon. Like, I'm going to request them from the library soon. We Used to Live Here by Marcus Cleaver. I'm going to assume the W is pronounced like a V, like it's German, Cleaver. There is a book talk influencer, and I can't remember her name. I think it's Sydney something. I will put it in the description if I remember to look it up. But she has talked about this book a lot and that it's really, really creepy. So that's on my TBR for October. I love reading spooky books in the fall, specifically in October. And then The Family Experiment by John Mars just has really, really high reviews right now, and it looks kind of ooky spooky. That actually is currently, I'm in line for it at the library. I have it on hold right now. First Lie Wins by Ashley Easton. A friend of mine recommended this to me. She said it was super good, so I'm going to read that for sure as soon as I can get my hands on it from the library. Happy Place by Emily Henry. I love Emily Henry's books, and I just haven't gotten around to reading this one yet, and I'm really excited. My sister has it, so when I see her next, I'm just gonna borrow it from her. The Covenant of Water by Abraham Verghese. Again, it just has really, really high ratings. People say it's like one of the best books they've ever read. So, gonna give it a shot. And then finally, The Atlas 6 by Olivie Blake. This was a self-published book that went crazy viral because of how good it is. We all know that self-published books are pretty hit or miss. Usually miss. That, I'm assuming, is they're self-published because they weren't selected by a publisher because they weren't that good, you know? So Atlas 6 blew up several years ago because it was so good, and I just haven't, I've wanted to read it forever, and I just, again, haven't gotten around to it. Those are my books that I want to read soon, that are the ones on my TBR that I am most excited about. The books I'm going to be reading next are the ones I have from the library currently because they are all on hold lists and I need to return them within a specific time because I can't renew them. Most likely I will be reading Quarry Girls next, and I can't wait to get through the rest of my pile. So if you have any other recommendations for me that you think I would like, let me know. Again, I do have a massive TBR list. It might already be on there. These are the ones I'm most excited about. So happy reading.